Hey, what's up guys? My name is Chris and this is going to be my very first YouTube video. Woo! So over the past week and a half-ish, I have read some books that I found on BookTok. I know BookTok is super popular with a lot of different recommendations, but a lot of the recommendations are also just the same. So I figured I would just read some of the most popular ones I was seeing and let you guys know what I thought. This video is going to be spoiler free, so if you're one of the 3 people in the whole world who haven't read some of these books, then that's just fine because I'm not going to spoil anything for you. Also, just a quick heads up, take what I say as an opinion. Okay, so let's get into it. This first book I saw pretty much everywhere on planet Earth. I am pretty sure everyone and their grandmother has read this book at this point, and I'm super behind, but I'm so happy that I finally read it. It's none other than 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. For those of you who haven't read this book, a quick summary is essentially Evelyn Hugo, this Hollywood icon who's now grown older. She is recounting her life and her Hollywood days, and through this book we get Evelyn's stories of Hollywood and all of her scandals, and we get all of the tea, essentially. I practically inhaled this book. I wish I took a little bit longer to read this just because it was over so quickly for me. I was really into it. BookTok knew what they were talking about with this one. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was intimate, captivating, it was emotional, it was so much fun to read. What I really loved about this book was that Evelyn was so multifaceted and you saw so many sides to her. She was very complex, that it was really fascinating to read about the way that she got what she wanted. I really thought Evelyn was so freaking cool. Like, also, yesterday, by the time I'm filming this, it was yesterday, they announced that they're making a Netflix movie of this book. So I'm so excited and fingers crossed that they do it justice because Evelyn deserves it. So it was super fun to be able to relive Evelyn's life through this novel. So I don't know what that was. So this next book I didn't see a ton of. I saw it a couple of times and I picked it up because it caught my eye. And this book is Daughter of the Pirate King. So I chose to read this one because I am a pirate stan. I think pirates are super cool. I love pirate characters and the whole swashbucklingness of it. Essentially, a super quick summary is that the daughter of the Pirate King, Alosa, is purposefully captured by an enemy crew so that she can fulfill this mission for her dad, who is the Pirate King. This book was entertaining for sure, but it wasn't necessarily my favorite. I didn't feel any super strong connections to any of the characters necessarily, and it was definitely a lot more romance, enemies to lovers than I was expecting, which is great if you like that, but I was hoping for just a little bit more of some pirate shenanigans. I wasn't invested enough in the romance to get a lot out of it. Also, something interesting is that the cover of the second book spoils one of the plot points of this book, which it wasn't like a world-shattering plot point, but I thought it was interesting how the second book that's on the back of this spoils something. So if you're curious about this book, maybe don't look at the sequel until you've finished reading it. It's not a gigantic spoiler, but it is just a plot point that I think I would have enjoyed a lot more if I didn't see it coming. Maybe the author had her reasons for doing that. Who's to say? I don't know. I think I didn't get as much out of this as I could have if I connected a little bit more with the romance or the characters. So I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5. So the next book is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. My eye was really drawn to the cover art because it's so colorful and it's so magical. And one of the first things that I read on this book was the quote at the top that says, "I loved it. It's like being wrapped up in a big gay blanket," which this is exactly what it's like. Super short summary. Basically, the main character, Linus, works kind of a dreary, bleak 9-to-5 when he is assigned to ensure that this orphanage of magical children is safe. This book was warm and emotional and heartfelt. It's a really great story about found family. I really loved Linus a lot and I liked seeing his progression throughout the book. and it was just so nice to read. It was so nice to read. A great feel-good, magical novel, if you're into that, which I am. So I'm gonna give this one also a 4.5 out of 5. I'm not sure if TJ's other novel has been released yet, but I'm looking forward to more of his work because this was so nice. So I'm saving my favorite for last, and this is the Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I was a wreck after finishing this, and not even because of the ending itself, but more so because this world that I had grown to become really attached to, that Madeline Miller had built up for the reader, was gone once you finish it. Like that's the book, and then that's the end. I just didn't like the fact that it ended, essentially. Super quick summary. This is the retelling of the Greek myth of Achilles, and that is the brief summary. I loved this book so much, particularly because I found myself super connected to the characters and the romance. I was really invested in what happened. Despite knowing the outcome, I still just could not care. I really liked how multi-dimensional they made Achilles seem. If you know the story of Achilles, you know, you might look at him as this brutal, attention-loving kind of brat, but I think this book shines a light on the fact that Achilles was a human. I now understand booktok. I understand why you all talk about this book. I'm giving this a 5 out of 5 because it was right up my alley. I'm so sad that this book ended. I actually picked up Circe immediately after finishing this and loved it as well. So Madeline Miller, if you want to adopt me as a 22-year-old, I'm not stopping you. So yeah, those are the books that I found off booktok that I read. Overall, I'm very happy with the books that I chose, but I think it might just be because I picked the books that I knew were my taste, so naturally I enjoyed them. Maybe if I were to pick more random books off booktok, I wouldn't have enjoyed them as much. So yeah, thank you so much for watching my very first YouTube video, which is crazy. I will see you next video. Bye.